was us. And that thief over there.
Damn you Stormcloaks. Skyrim was fine until you came along. Empire was nice and lazy. If they hadn't been looking for you, they'd have stolen that horse and been halfway to Hammerfell. You there, you and me, we shouldn't be here. It's the Stormcloaks the Empire wants.
We're all brothers and sisters in binds now.
Shut up back there.
What's wrong with him, huh?
Watch your tongue. You're speaking to Ulfric Stormcloak, the true High King.
Ulfric? The Jarl of Windhelm? You're the leader of the rebellion. But they captured you. Oh God, where are they taking us?
I don't know where we're going, but Sovngarde awaits.
No, this can't be happening. This isn't happening.
Hey, what village are you from, horse thief?
Why do you care?
A Nord's last thoughts should be of home.
Rorikstead. I'm from Rorikstead.
General Tullius, sir. The headsman is waiting.
Good. Let's get this over with.
Sure. Mara, Dibella, Kinnereth, Akatosh, Divines, please help me.
Look at him. General Tullius, the military governor. And it looks like the Thalmor are with him.
Greetings, adventurers. This is Chris, aka NAS, with new adventures in Skyrim. I hope everything's going well with you and you're taking care of yourselves and the ones you love. And today's surprise, we're going to talk about Skyrim. But more specifically, how I was introduced to Skyrim. Before we get into that, the reason I'm doing this is 11/11/11 is the release date that Skyrim came out on, depending on your platform. And that was when I started playing the game on PlayStation. As the 10th birthday is coming up, I thought it would be neat to revisit all of this, so let's get into it. Skyrim was a birthday gift for me, the year that it came out. I did not know anything of Skyrim, not of Elder Scrolls, none of that. Not one line or word of the lore, aside from what I saw in commercials as Skyrim was coming out. I put the disc in my PlayStation, no mods, no DLC, no universal Skyrim patch, just ES5 in all of its vanilla glory. I remember the intro opening, and I was already in wonder, literally, looking around, the colors of the uniforms, the conversations, the names, the places. This meant nothing to me yet, just terms and names and no idea what and the depth of what they reflected. I didn't know about the Elder Scrolls thing with all of the games starting with you as a prisoner, so even that concept wasn't clear to me when the game started. Then I hopped out of the wagon with a little help from the game mechanics and looked at two Imperials, one sterner than the other and a lot more relenting, while the other was visibly and audibly more concerned and level-headed and more personal and human. Then my entire world changed based on one simple question.
Who are you?
And that's how it all started. I was thrust into a world picking to follow the Stormcloaks based solely on the fact that my favorite color was blue because, again, I had no context to the lore aside from that short ride. I had selected an orc, or Orsimer, as I always do. Then I named him Azseth, as I always do. This time, though, he was not a hunter, as he almost always was. Instead, I wanted to try something different, so I went with what ended up being a two-handed, heavy plate-wearing conjurer. If I'm not mistaken, it was Azseth Felbane because of the little kickback to my character in World of Warcraft, but that's neither here nor there. I ended up beating Skyrim that week, in terms of the main quest line, I mean. And for context, I have not played the game's main quest through since that week. Again, the first week the game came out. And I haven't played any DLC. One of my characters is just now starting to dabble in the Dawnguard DLC, so that's totally new for me. Even upon returning when I got Skyrim Special Edition for PC, I stayed and still do stay very vanilla, but let me not get ahead of myself. Back to how this all started. I didn't know the map, I didn't understand the compass or what they indicated, I didn't understand enemies, and I was so immersed in a world that I was just discovering as I went along. It was great. I experienced giants like we all do, got a lift, and this was a degree of immersion that I have not personally experienced since Ogre Battle back for Super Nintendo. This all is what made Skyrim so special to me, and why after 10 years as of 11/11 this year, I'm still playing Skyrim. But now onto a bit more context as to why Skyrim is a slightly conflicted experience for me. I did mention my now ex got me the game for my birthday, and while it's a solo game, we played a lot of it together. So after divorce, it was hard to get back or find the motivation, I don't know if strength's the right word, but whatever, to go back into Skyrim. More so since my Steam and Blizzard account went with her, even though she doesn't play any of the games, but that's neither here nor there anyway, so I quit playing. And I didn't play until more recently, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, or more now. Again, I lose track of time. But in some ways, it's like playing the game all over again for me. It's really awesome. Now with mods and DLC, and with content all over the internet, more games such as ESO and now ES6 coming out. All of this lore and this big universe I didn't even know existed before putting that disc in the game. And then there's the game's predecessors and the lore that comes along with all of those. I do a lot of personal exploring through Skyrim. Immersion and role-playing is what I do. It helps me externalize, it stimulates my thought, and it helps me communicate to people, even if it's tangentially. So sometimes Skyrim bums me out. As mentioned above, it was a gift, a birthday present for my ex, and I have stopped playing a lot of games and watching a lot of movies and TV shows and engaging with things my ex and I used to because it's just hard. But Skyrim makes it so easy now. I explore a lot of myself through there, as mentioned. Often when a character does something, I'll end up asking myself, what would I personally do in that situation? But then I remove myself from that because role-playing is awesome, and as mentioned, you get to explore some things you'd never do, or that you've always wanted to do. You want to be a hero and kill a dragon? Yes. You want to murder that sad homeless man in the sewers over there and take what little money he has? No. But would my character murder that person for money? Do they want to step up and actually go through the work of being a moral hero? I find the religious side of role-playing engaging and the most fun. I'm not a believer, at least not in the traditional or status quo way that most people would describe it today, but as someone who's skeptical and does not generally believe based on faith, being a person in a world where not only is it not wise to deny the true gods, but often the proof is right there in front of you. The entire literal world of Nirn is created by gods made of magic. This magic, depending on your views, is either of the gods or the gods themselves. And my point is, I cannot portray someone who denies the things that exist and are literally holding the fabric of that world together just because those things don't exist in mine, or I'm maybe unsure of the degree to which they exist in mine. But a person who knows and sees it, and then they act that out, and I act it through them, through their eyes and perspective, it's such a fun challenge. But in a real world way, it's made me also less, I don't know if condescending or close-minded is the term, but about people who actually do believe. I'm not going to get into it, but this is just one of the many ways Skyrim has helped me finding balance in my life and in the world. Skyrim itself is such a robust and well put together game, but the community is generally what gets me and I wish I had more connection to. The amount of lore heads, modders, active players, memers, enthusiasts, and people being drawn into the game today, it's something that amazes me. I'll be in a Discord or reading comments of other players and see something about how this inspired someone to buy the game or pick up the game and fire up an old save, or and how it reminded you of that one time when you used to play, or the first time again you got launched by a giant, or the again we all had that moment where we did, hey, we could shout this person off of something, let's go see what we can do. We've all had those moments and I love it. A new person playing is gonna get those same things we got, those same experiences, and I'm sure you can hear me smiling to myself as I just think about sharing those connections. They're so silly and funny, but so meaningful when combined all together. It's that, metaphor of how many little grains of sand until you make a beach, and that's that. How many of those little memories just become something more, communities and conversations, things like that. That just gets me. I love Skyrim in that regard. So with ES6 looming ahead on the horizon, ESO currently out and cranking out new adventures and lore as we speak, and modders remaking Morrowind and Oblivion and all of that, even creating new worlds and standalone, mods and worlds in there. But I don't think I ever intend on leaving Skyrim. Fizzban, he may want to leave one day, Glamic too, but not me. Like I say, I'd rather be in Skyrim. So cheers, happy birthday Skyrim, and to all of those that enjoy the game and the people around it, go easy. This is Chris, aka NAS. Cheers.